Well, hello, Internet. You're right. It has been a while since I've done one of these. I think it was because I had nothing to talk about, but I had the flat to myself, so I thought I would come in with a video that is for exactly one person, and that one person is me. So it's on record. I wanted to keep track of the best coffees that I've had in my life. This isn't like a held list, and I actually don't know how many there'll be either. Have always thought about these best coffees and what made them. I'm no coffee snob, by the way. I can feel myself being pulled in that direction generally, but like just because I know it's just one of those things where like I'll definitely end up as a coffee snob at some point in my life, right? And like I dread that day forever because it's exactly the kind of boring and like obnoxious kind of shit that I would just love. Like it was like, oh, you guys don't get it. It's the real craft of it and things. Like I don't want to be that silverhead guy who my friend hates. I can't remember his name, but he's like, ooh, the science of the coffee and stuff. I don't want to be that guy. But I have had these completely transcendent moments of drinking coffee because I'm fully addicted. We're talking Gilmore Girl numbers. And I wanted to pay deference to them and also speak to the fact that a good coffee experience doesn't come from spending loads on like an artisanal coffee where they know where the bean is from and all this stuff. All the best coffees I've had in my life were certainly chiller. So kicking things off with the coffee that I can remember most vividly. There's not really criteria for what makes each coffee great, but this one was one of the purest hits of caffeine when I needed it most that made it so impactful to me. There's a moment, and coffee drinkers will know this, my elite friends will know this, that when you need the coffee but you delay your gratification, it just hits like a skimming stone. It just like, oh wow, it like rearticulates your organs in your body, right? It's a full experience. I used to work at the cafe chain Olenstein, and Olenstein had a rule that if you got to your shift half an hour early, you could get a free coffee and pastry before your shift started. Now, most regular cafes will let you have that for free, but Olenstein, being a chain, made you work for it, which is a whole other thing about capitalism. One shift, I get there early, and it's an opening shift, which means you have to wait for the coffee machine to come on. You get there at like 7 a.m. and you're setting up all the cakes and stuff, and the doors are open for 8, and the customers start coming in at 8. You are not, but there's a rush. There's a morning rush straight away, so you don't get your coffee order in. You got to deal with the rush, and then this one was particularly busy. We're getting people in. We're kind of coffee orders. It gets to about 9 a.m. and one of the baristas, I can't remember their name, but they're a beautiful person, walked up to me and they go like, "Listen, it's time. What do you want?" And I say, "Thank you so much. I would love an oat flat white because I am at heart a very boring suburban mum, and I have the oat flat white, and I finally just take a moment. It's quiet, and I take that first sip, and oh my god, it just the way it was perfect. I don't know. I have a theory that like the machine ran through enough stuff that it was just hitting its zenith right in that bang on perfect moment. But it was the perfect amount of coffee for me. It was the perfect size. It was just one sip, and it was like, oh, I could. It was like Ratatouille. I could hear the music playing, and I felt alive again. So that's number one best coffee. Number two best coffee was brought to us by one of the worst named cafes in my life. And this is where I go a little more consumer brain on it and the consumer advice, because I mentioned size before in the last thing, but I believe coffees should always be slightly smaller than you think they should be. You shouldn't have a particular size of coffee that you like. They should just always be smaller, just smaller than you think, where you're slightly thrown off. They're a little bit, oh, is that? You don't want them too big. I hate when you get too big coffees from like Costa or Starbucks or sometimes just random iced coffee places where you get these big tonk like American size. They're literally like the size of this air freshener, which I've covered up the label for safety. And it's like, that's too much coffee. I don't need that much coffee. We all know it's the espresso, it's the amount of water, and everything else is just, bean counting or just, adding bells on it to make it seem fun. We know it's the coffee, so just make it a small amount of coffee. And this place, when I ordered my flat white, and it was like the size of a pygmy hedgehog. Like it was running the gamut so close to being a cortado or something like that. It was like it was kind of, no, it's too big. It was like that size between my mustache and my eye. And I had such a moment of like, oh, hang on, that's a little small, that's a little tiny. And I was like, is that going to be good? And then, but it was the perfect amount. It was so elegant, and it was so, the sun was shining, I remember, and we were sat there outside drinking this coffee. My friend had a black coffee, and it was the same size, which, by the way, is totally, I think, always ask for a black Americano in a flat white cup. Clearly, I just ride or die for the flat whites. I do other stuff, but it was just a perfect size coffee. And nothing could ruin that day or that coffee experience, except for the fact that the cafe was named the Department of Coffee and Social Affairs. Just like the most smug, like, have I got news for you call, dry bullshit. Like, perhaps we'll go to the Department of Coffee and Social Affairs. Like, oh my God, shut up. You're not on the thick of it. And no one would even care if you were. So the third best coffee of my life came to me at a time where I should not have had it, which I think speaks to its quality. It was like a real... I was at a layover in Atlanta, Georgia, in the Atlanta airport for about 3 hours, and I had some time to kill. And I should have probably been sleeping, but I went past the Dunkin' Donuts, and they had this little Dunkin' Donuts. There was 2 women in there, and they had the house blend, and I want to say it was a special Dunkin' blend. If any Dunkin' fans are in, get in the comments or whatever. And unlike Olenstein, I do believe there's a kind of there's a non-pretension with Dunkin'. I imagine you could steal probably about 30 donuts right from the box right there before someone would call you out from a Dunkin' Donuts. But I had this coffee, I want to say it was the house blend, and it was like diner coffee in a movie. Like, it hit so perfectly, and so beautifully. Like, I was just in it. Like, I was just so, and look, it was like it was maybe the size of my phone, all right, if we're gonna hold myself to this weird system I've built. But it was the right amount of coffee for that, and it was just like it was just so warm and so flavorful, and had a kind of distinct, kind of sweet but bitter thing that really good coffee has. And I genuinely felt like they just roasted the hell out of it, and it was just really good. And it was so good that it kept me awake on the flight. Like, I should have been sleeping because it was a layover and stuff, but I just thought it was the most delicious. It was just genuinely delicious. Like, I've never had a coffee like it before or since, where it really, it wasn't the need for caffeine. It was like the actual, I just enjoy this as a beverage on its own. It was incredible. It's only happened again recently. It was my birthday on Saturday, and at our bagel place, whose name escapes me, sorry bagel place, but we always get these nice bagels, and they also do iced coffee. And I've never really got the coffee there because I was like, it looks like it's a, instant machine. And my one major, very pretentious take is that I can't do instant coffee. I think it's disgusting. And I thought it was like that, or that kind of machine coffee. Like, all those coffee machines that get sold to offices, like, around the world, would just make substandard coffee for no reason, other than I assume it's cheaper. But we just had it wasn't that at all. It was this beautiful little iced coffee that just hit spectacularly. It was absolutely amazing. Anyway, yes, that was it. That's like 3 and 3.5 maybe. Number 4 of the best coffee is Greg's canned iced coffee, which is amazing. And who would have thought, right? It's kind of like 2 negatrons becoming a proton or something. It's incredible. Negatrons, positrons. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but it was just really good. Basically, so we a few months ago we went to Japan last year, and they have canned iced coffee, and I was completely won round to the idea of canned iced coffee. I was like, it's delicious, it's on the go, it's kind of chic, it's kind of elegant, and so I kept trying to buy. Well, and also, frankly, I was saving money on the coffee morning run, and I would have canned iced coffees in the morning, and there's a few that are really good. A lot of them are terrible. Jimmy's iced coffee is bad. However, Jimmy's iced coffee strong, good. Boost iced coffee is probably the best one. But in terms of design and also just caffeine hit, the Greg's just came out swinging. I don't know what it was. I feel like they just saw that Starbucks, boo, kind of dominates the game in terms of corner shop presence and stuff. But so they came out with their own thing. The only downside is it is £2.30, which is, for me, I'm a bit like, well, I might as well just get a regular coffee at that point. But it just, if you can look past that, if you can stop thinking about money for just 2 minutes, you can really walk on the wild side. Like, it was just really, I was just so shook because it was on the go and I wasn't expecting it. I'd actually bruised my, not pelvis, bruised my rib at the time. So I was really like, the small wins meant a lot. And it was just really good. Yeah. And, yeah, Boost Iced Coffee is probably my ride or die, though. But Greg's was just a great coffee that I needed at the right time. Pairs very well with the sausage roll, vegan or otherwise. That is all the ones I can remember, which means this should probably be a very quick video. A few just honorable mentions, I guess. The espresso martini I had on my birthday really went dad core on that. I had an espresso martini about 4:30 while my wife was getting ready for dinner. Just, I don't think there's anything more dad core than that. And just forever and always, the humble affogato. Oh my god. That affogatos are so good. It like changed my work ethic forever. Like I think I've worked deliberately 5% less hard after having an affogato for the first time. My good god, just simple. It was like the logic of making nachos, right? Just throw it all together. But for something, I hate coffee desserts. I've never got them, and to just cut out the middleman, dollop it in there in a little espresso cup too. My good god, man, my good god. So forever and always. I mean, every video actually ends with a shout out to the affogato. Get easy. My wine's done. So bye.